All right. Good afternoon, traders. I was wondering what kind of attendance level we'd get. I think I forgot to send a message. I said it on the recording, or I said it live, but I never posted like a hey. And I did change it on the calendar, but I'm remembering now that I meant to post something that said we're going to shift this to this day, so we may be a little light in the numbers. That is okay. We will take this small but mighty crew that we have. Good afternoon, Doug. Good to see you, sir. John, good to see you. We'll give it a minute or two. Interesting week this week. Short week, chopping around. Uh, certainly, certainly interesting. Yeah, maybe we'll start right at five after. So we'll give it 2 minutes. Let a few folks who just got notified. They're like, "Wait, it's starting," and they're gonna jump in. Yeah, yeah. How's everybody feeling today? First of all, great. Hello, Kyle. Good to see you. I mean, it's kind of almost a weekend, right? Exhausted. Yeah, it's crazy. We had some snow start coming down for a minute. Seems like it warmed up. 39. Yeah, getting a little late spring snow. All right, let's just dive in. We're close enough. This crew will do fine. We'll have a sun just came out in LA. Officially, good afternoon. Happy Thursday. Now, for those of you listening to this recording, when it gets posted and you're like, wait, there was a weekly market wrap? Yeah, because tomorrow the market's closed. However, however, Glenn sent me a text. He said that he uh, popped a message into the group and said, if I were to meet, how many of you would do it, would want to do it? And he said he got a pretty overwhelming response. And so Good Friday working session is on. If you go look at the calendar, the obviously the Friday afternoon session was moved to today, but the Friday morning session still there, still going to be held. But the market is closed, so keep that in mind. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, he's just like, you know what? If people want to do it, I'll pop in and do it. Welcome everyone to the Options Income Launchpad Weekly Market Wrap on Thursday. Brought to you by, nope, not brought to you by, brought to you by Options Income Launchpad, hosted by me. As always, education illustrated purposes only. No recommendations to buy or sell anything. Not brokers or advisors, so we don't give personalized investment advice. Any decisions made based on any information you get from us or our platform should be done so at your own risk. Yada, yada, yada. Whoop, whoop. Agenda. Let's look at today's market. What happened? Started bad, rallied up. Sometimes we start up, rally down. Sometimes we start in the middle, rally up, rally down, finish in the middle. We're gonna give it our good read here and see. Right? It's tough. Do we, do you feel good? Do you feel like time for puts is over? Probably not. But are they kind of getting chopped around a little bit? Probably so. So we'll talk about that. Look at our posture. Look at the mindset for trades. What are you going to carry? What? Why? Are you going to close anything? Pare it down? Tighten stops, etc., etc. What's going on next week? We'll look at the economic calendar. We may not end up using the full hour today. We may call it a little early if we don't get a few more folk in. But we'll get through. We'll do our thing. And see where it puts us. All right. Trading plan progress of the week. Section 1. If you're new, section 1, back to the beginning, back to the basics. Let's go back to the basics. UPS. I'll tell you what, it opened this morning and I'm like, yeah, here we go. We're back where we need to be. And then it closes and it's back up here. And none of this has broken resistance. Tested the other way, hasn't broken. So if you're holding saying, hey, you know what? I was looking for this thing to bounce down and it started to, and then it caught a little bit of market momentum. And then today, and then it caught a little bit. What do we know about the volume on these last 3 days? Average, less. Now here, it's where it tested higher and dropped back down. Opened down, but came back up. Basically, it's just kind of holding in this area here. Yeah. Let's go get to, I'm trying to pull my watch list up here. Give me just a second. Get a couple of things out of the way. So, what path from our Tuesday evening session? I think I'm going to go find that picture. Where is it? Did I post that? I thought I did. Maybe I didn't. Oh, I need to. Okay. I want to look at it. So give me just a minute here. I'm going to go find. No, I did not download it. Where is it? Monday, Tuesday foundations, download. That's fine. If I could drag it, there we go. What is this? Oh man, that was like way slow. Okay, now look at this. You can see it went a little higher on this day. Now on mine, I drew it going up a little and coming back down. Whereas what we actually have is going down but coming back up. But where is it on the third day? Same place. It went up a little bit on decreased volume. There's my first day. Up a little bit on average volume. The next day, a little bit less. Oh, I feel like B is, come on, who feels that with me? Let's see if I can get more. Okay. Yeah, you can see that D could still come to fruition. Right now it's A and D. We didn't keep advancing higher is what we needed for E and C. E and C needed to advance higher to break above the 200. But we didn't break above the 200. So as of right now, and it definitely doesn't look like it was B because B was a pretty quick reversal and we didn't see that. So right now, of those two paths, which ones are we thinking we're seeing develop? B? No, A, which was our primary, and D, which was kind of it just sort of peters out and doesn't really have any momentum. So what does that mean for me? Well, if it's A, right? If it's A is not getting through this lower high and then dropping back down with us thinking I'm going to try to catch a trade where I pick up a little there and then get to the next level. I think it might have even been down here somewhere where we think, hey, this thing, if it keeps getting worse, we're not looking for one of these. We're looking for one of these, right? As this accelerates into into quote unquote bearishness out of this is, we consolidated or we corrected. I don't think the S&P did. I don't think the S&P quite did. It got close. I think it needed to get to like 623 and it only got to 629, but still, it dropped 9%, a little bit of an upswing. And now what? Now possibly looking for that bigger move to the downside. PLTR starting to look constructive after the last trade. Okay. Caught the jump at 7:30 with the SPY call for 100%. Okay, good catch. Yeah, it opened down. Buyers came in. As of right now, for me, now we did get. Let's kind of walk through our posture. Let's start here. Unchanged. Last week it dropped. This week unchanged. Did it go up enough that I'm like, there it is? Now we're going to start? No, I don't know yet. It's stabilized. So that's going to stay unchanged, though we are getting a potentially one of these like we got back here. Something to be aware of. If the war ends, this thing could go. Let's just keep that in mind at any given time. Okay, let's look at. So that's not going to change. I would expect with a bullish week, this is also going to remain unchanged. Is it going to get? Is it enough? A week of chaos and unchanged, but John, unchanged. That's better than more change to the downside. We've been dropping. We eventually want to see stability of some kind. So even if it's just a week becomes two, possibly. We'll see. Bad on your nerves for sure. That is true. That I agree 100%. Okay. Bad on our nerves indeed. Indubitably. Okay. Is it enough that this is going to say, hey, look, the buyers did this. Let's give it a quarter of a point? No, it would have to get at least back to like there. And I'd be like, oh, you know what? Whatever they lost here, they got it back. But as of right now, they lost it and they're not getting back up. It's not the same trajectory, but it's not that far off. It's a slight diminishment. So I think that my short-term score is likely to stay the same. Volume score already saw an uptick last week. Organically, it popped from a minus 0.75 to a minus 0.5. Now what? Well, we actually got another another buy. So this is actually getting better. We're starting to see the conviction levels shift. Wait, what? I thought I just moved that. Let's duplicate it. Okay. Um, now what? Well, when we do our volume on Sunday, I'm going to throw this out over here. This one sell day is going to be too stale. And then I'm going to look at this and I'm going to be like, this is a little stale, but it's still relevant. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cells. I've got one tie. 1, 2, 3 buys. 5, 3, 1. We're at a minus 0.5 right now. I kind of feel like that's right. If we dropped to like a 4-2-1, I might be like, yeah, maybe I could take that down to minus 0.25. I mean, you can still see we have definitely a negative slope in our slope alignment. but if you cut this in half, right, and you say, okay, next week we'll get rid of these 5 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All of this will go. And then at that point, it'll be 1, 2, 3 sells, 2 buys. I would actually say that's a 0 right there. Right. So in this area right here, actually this whole area here, in this area here, that is oriented to neutrality. We're not going to get there this next week, but the week after, as long as we don't see more selling pressure. And if you look at this here, this is actually aligned. This is 2 buys, 1 sell, 2 buys, and a tie. This is actually oriented bullishly. That's a 0.25. So one thing that I'm seeing, not that I'm like, oh, I wonder, I feel, I think, I'm seeing the conviction of sellers diminishing. Great. Thoughts? Now, could that shift next week if all of a sudden we have a bad news from the war? Bad news from the war, and then we see a sell day with some volume. Well, yeah, that's obviously we adapt as new information comes across our desks and we make the adjustment. But this is interesting to me that the volume seems to be showing this type of a pattern. Okay. Small group. You guys are quiet today. Any insights from a market standpoint? Are you feeling more bullish, more bearish, or more undecided right now? For those of small crew, everybody has to weigh in. More bullish, more bearish, or more undecided? John said undecided in his own way. PJ still bearish. I'm still leaning more bearish as well. Why? Because my market posture is oriented down, because conflicts are hard to end. So when we see the market like, oh, maybe this thing's going to end soon, it's wishful thinking for sure. But I don't know how rooted in reality that we just are like, you know what, we're done here. You guys go on your own. Congratulations, America. You know, I don't know. Due to the heavy bombing. Yeah. I'm bearish more due to the fact that we just made a lower low. We're still in the process of setting a lower high. Our market posture has deteriorated. As of right now, if anything, I think it's going to stay the same. Let's go look at the VIX for this week. Let's go look at the VIX. Not a lot of de-escalation, which if we are thinking to ourselves, this is going to be bullish. Not tradable. I know that. Okay, so yeah, if you look, it hasn't made a higher low yet, and we just scored this last weekend the lower high, the higher low, the higher. No, sorry, we just scored last weekend the higher high, which is where here, not higher than this one, higher than this one. Still escalating. We haven't touched this, but remember on this day we only got there for a minute and it pulled back. Right now, this is sustainably. Then we pulled back, and this is our highest low yet. If we can't break below this and get to here or lower, this is our highest low yet. So there is ongoing escalation. John says bearish till conflict ends. Every day it lasts, it adds to my bearish outlook. And you can see that the escalation in the VIX is mirroring that sentiment. That's not an opinion or a feeling. That's a reaction to very specific conditions that we track daily and weekly by evaluating the VIX. Clearly, we can see. Okay, let me see here. Kyle says price action somewhat constructive. I think it's always better to be bullish. However, I think we're going to have extreme volatility and conflict. And again, I mean, if you're saying, I think it's, you know, like it's best to be in line with the market. I don't want to be on the bull side or the bear side. I just want to be on the right side. Right. But as far as a preference, and everyone's like, oh, we're traders, we can make money in any market. I've been saying this a lot lately. There are conditions that are conducive, and we should expand our risk and to open it up and, you know, get on our horse and giddy up. And then there are conditions where we're like, this is a dogfight. Every trade is likely to be a dogfight. You're likely to get whipsawed. You're likely to get yanked around a little bit. So how many trades do you want on when you're in dogfight conditions versus how many trades do you want on when you're in smooth sailing conditions? And I don't think it's an opinion. I think empirically, I developed a little party trick with coaching where if I got someone to sit and talk to me about like their trading up until that point, they're like, oh yeah, it's been great, blah, blah, blah. And I'll flesh it out. I could get to the point where I could pinpoint within like a week or two of when they actually started trading, just simply based on, you know, them recounting how trades have gone, which indicated not how good they learned or not, but what market conditions were. So if they're like, oh yeah, it's been great, but all of a sudden it slowed down and blah, 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 I'd go back and look and be like, oh, so you started in May and then things turned around like beginning of July, and they're like, oh, that's how did you know? Because context, right? It's not like, oh, in any market, I can just go find whatever. That sounds great as a marketing spiel. And if someone markets you that, I could see why you would be tempted, but don't be surprised if it didn't that way in reality. In reality, choppy sideways markets are super hard to trade. Bearish markets are hard to trade because you get bear suckouts and bull traps, and you get these things that whipsaw around, and it starts down and ends up, and then starts up and ends. I mean, it's the VIX, the trading when the VIX is at 30 is very different than trading when the VIX is at 15. Very different. I think we're all recognizing pieces of that. Bearish short term, bullish midterm, day trading is likely the environment. Yes. From a probability standpoint, being solely bullish or being solely bearish, bullish wins. I agree. Yeah. Placed on the EWA due to their complete dependence on Petro. A put on EWA. Got it. Let's take a look. Place to put on EWA. That is Australia? Yeah, I thought it was Australia. Yeah. The the setup is sound. I would say I believe sellers are in control. I would say you're at or near resistance. And what would we be looking for to the downside? Maybe, where does that put us? 26? Which is funny because it's only 2 points, but that's 2 points on a $28 stock. So I would say, maybe it's, which looks very similar to that, correct? Then the question is, where is it wrong? Maybe a little line across the top of this thing. However, you'll notice number one, this is still moving up. So if all of a sudden we got a day like this, we might think, yeah, that's okay. And then it turns and then it rolls over. And then we think the same thing. Things hiccup to the upside, just like they hiccup to the downside. We sit through hiccups on bullish bounce trades. We do need to be prepared. UPS is a good example in a bit of a hiccup. Let me share the picture with me. Let me see what this picture shows. Ooh, let's see. That looks like a monthly chart. So I can replicate that. What have you got there? 10 years monthly? Go. Yeah. I mean, on the monthly chart, it actually looks kind of strong, to be fair. It just made a new higher high. I don't know that that's going to be very relevant to you. This one here, you can kind of see from this perspective, it's hitting some support. These old highs become new lows, and it could be bouncing off of this. Yeah, I think in this situation, you are really highlighting the short term to understand that. All right. No, I don't want to close Think or Swim. What? Okay. Questions about let's see here. The concentration risk is worse than it appears. Just five companies make up 46% of the fund. The big four banks, HP, EW is leveraged into two sectors. If it falls to 22, okay. 25, I'd say 25. What is that? About the old low right in here? I think 25 is 25's tough. 25 is tough. That would be a pretty good size move. 26, but I think 26 is, like a 10 to 14 day move. So there you go. All right. What else? Let's go look at what the market is reporting. Flat to slightly negative with small caps up a little bit. US stocks rise off lows as good news on Iran war emerges. A national address hasn't calmed markets. What was the good news? Did I miss it? Uh, did I miss the good news? I don't know. Someone tell me the good news. If you know what it is. What else? Tesla leads Mag 7 stocks lower. AI leaks highlight cyber risk. Microsoft building its own AI to cut AI dependence, which is weird because I think Microsoft owns a big chunk of OpenAI. So they're kind of, you know, some overlap in there. Mortgage rates rise for the fifth straight week above 6%. Okay. Not much in there. Let's go look at the economic news. Interesting thing is we still actually get the employment report tomorrow. There's just no market reaction to it. Discussion between Oman and Iran about opening the strait. Okay. I mean, they were like, oh, they're letting 10 boats through. We did a little digging in our group here, and the average number is 145 a day. So, if it's closed for 10 days, that's almost 1,500 ships that needed to get through that didn't get through, that is going to leave someone somewhere stranded with something that didn't come that was supposed to come 1,500 times. And they're like, hey, we're going to get 10 or 20 boats through. And it's like, yeah, this is the kind of thing that can have supply chain impact. Yeah, it's pretty big, right? We were like, when they were like, oh, we're going to get 10 through, we're like, well, 10, is that 10 out of 30 or 10 out of 100? Or we're like, nope, it's 10 out of 145. That's not great. Already has in some regard. Yeah, you're right, John. You're right. And the ripple is going to be bigger. The longer it is, the bigger the ripple. Hence, I'm sure John saying that he's going to be increasingly bearish the longer this thing goes on. Right? That all makes a lot of sense to me. Okay, so we will still get the jobs report, which, I mean, I gotta say, for me, I don't know what happened to the ADP because I don't see it anywhere. It just sort of disappeared. Um, I'm going to look for it real fast. ADP private payrolls. ADP report 1 day ago. It's been a poor predictor, it says from Reuters. March. March was the last one. Oh, no, that's this one. We just got it. When did this come out? Overall hiring is steady, but job growth continues to favor certain industries, including healthcare. March, this performance was accompanied by a boost in pay gains for job changers. How much was it? 59? 62? Um, is anyone else surprised by SPY's price action near the close? De-risking into the close doesn't seem to be happening, which is bullish. Yeah, I mean, it's hard. Okay, so ADP did come out, came out okay. I don't know why they didn't have it listed in. Oh, no, they did. Sorry, it's right there. What are you doing, Scott? It's right there. That's pretty favorable. 202 jobless claims. That's not bad. We're expecting we had negative 90,000 last month, looking for that to jump back to 60,000 positive. Unemployment staying fixed at 4.4. That would be great. That would be great if we saw that. Let's go take a look at some of that last half hour price action. Yeah, it'll be interesting if we close closer to 655 or closer to 653.5. Closer to 655, and I'll agree. I think it'll be a bit more of a bullish implication. Okay. Anybody carrying a day trade into the close? Let's go just kind of look through the market and see where it puts us. Alcoa, very strong after the last 2 days. Basic materials maybe showing some movement again. I would look to trade this on a pullback before the next earnings. There seems to be maybe we're going to get another one of these surges after this sideways, up, down, and then maybe 65 to 75, something like that. I think there could be something there. Apple, nothing there for me. Archer Daniels looks pretty good. I mean, it made this move, but it's just kind of stalled out. We would need to see a reset there. Applied Materials, no, just kind of chopping around. AMKR looks very similar. Amazon is down. APH is down. ASX. If you still have some, I would hold this through the weekend. It's just going to depend on what you did when it had that Monday. But if you still have this, it's holding on. It looks fairly viable still going forward. AXP, no. Looking to see if financials can figure things out. But as of right now, we're not seeing much there yet. Okay. Let's see. Bank of America. Bank of America. A little bit of something, maybe. So still some signs of growth uh in the financial sector starting to materialize to some extent. Looking for that. BJ, it's great to see you. Have a great Easter as well. Enjoy your weekend. Budweiser, no. City, I still think City's showing some leadership. CF pulling back, coherent. Cisco, ooh, Cisco, a little fight to hold the 100. Delta, no. Diamonds, no. Dow Chemical on a pullback. I think Basic Materials is still seeing some momentum that is worth us looking into. Ford is down, GE down, gold maybe starting to see a little something. GM, Google. I need a little more. I needed to get like at least up to the 50 or a little above, and then that one's tight. I think Goldman looks good, but we have earnings coming up, so there may not be much for us to do in that regard as we watch and wait. Um, let's see. HD down still. Home HL sideways. IBM's trying to make a little move here, you know? Interesting. Um, yeah. Intel rising. Small caps stable. Lumentum. Lumentum, you silly bastard. LRCX. LRCX is kind of interesting, actually. Somebody else said Palantir was kind of interesting. We'll see that one in just a second. MasterCard, Meta. Ooh, that does feel like it could be enough. I would have liked it to have gotten, well, it did actually. You'll notice it did get there. Boom, boom. What we have here is what I would call a sneaky reversal where it could just kind of like settle and then it's like boom and you're like wait, that was it, and you're thinking that this thing could make a run back into that area. Meta is a hard stock to trade. It's funny that you say that. I definitely have stocks where I'm like, oh, I just can't. Tesla's one that I've had a few stabs at that I'm like, man, whenever I'm coming in, it fundamentally shifts. I look at this right here and I think I agree, right? Like it had a little bit of a blow off bottom that could materialize into something there. So, yeah, let's keep an eye on that one next week. Monster down, Morgan trying, Microsoft down, Micron down, Netflix, uh, Nvidia, Palantir. I mean, I don't know. These are hard ones. I feel like they're just sort of chopping around underneath their moving average bands. Okay. Rocket Labs, no. Raw Store still looks pretty bullish. RTX, Silver, SanDisk. So some of these digital storage ones you can see all look very similar. Um, Tesla's down. UPS holding. Vale up a little bit. Viking up a little bit. VIX flat for the day. WDC and Walmart. Kyle, good to see you. Have a good Easter. Yeah, I think look, we're not going to try to force anything before a long weekend and volatility. This is, we're gonna continue thinking about the long game, not letting ourselves get distracted or thrown off on the short term. So Glenn will be here tomorrow morning. Nice, stress-free working session. Join him for that. Um, we will have our evening sessions. So Glenn will be back in a few hours. I'll be back an hour behind that. 15 minutes after his end is mine. We'll have that. And then we will meet on Easter. We will have an Easter weekend extravaganza. Probably right before I throw whatever meat's getting smoked for the occasion. I'm thinking tri-tip with a chimichurri. Sounds good, right? What do you guys think? Have a great weekend. Have a wonderful Easter to those who celebrate. I hope the weather's nice. See you Sunday, as always. Happy trading.